My name is Robert Henke and I make music and I do audiovisual pieces and I do installations. And at Krake Festival this year I show a work called Destructive Observation Field, which is a laser-based installation. Most people know my work as Monolake because this is the oldest project which exists since 1995 and which started as a duo with Gerhard Beles, who later founded Ableton. And then I do more listening type of concerts under my name Robert Henke. And apart from this, I do since a few years more and more also installations. And I started working with lasers a few years ago also. And I do concerts with lasers. That's my big concert work under the name Lumiere. And I did 2 or 3 laser-based installations so far. I was always interested in visual expression too. It just happened that making music was such a nice entry point because I met the people at the Hardwax record store and I just got thrown into this whole techno culture. And so I just started to make electronic music. But I was always interested in visual expression too. I just never considered releasing it until a few years ago. For me, it feels that doing visual pieces and installations and concerts and records are all different ways of expressing the very same things. I'm interested in spaces, I'm interested in timbre or structure, I'm interested in color, and so the difference is to me smaller than it might seem. If I'm in a techno club dancing, I experience a state which is timeless, which is not a 5-minute pop song. And this is already very much the same type of perception I also like to have when I look at an installation. I forget my sense of time. And if I think as a club, as a space, then it's also something which is very different from just the music. It's an experience of the music in a space. It's an architectural experience, it's a social experience. And this is also, again, pretty much the same as if you go to a gallery or a museum. For me, I see more the common points than the differences. I think it's certainly a feedback scenario that by doing installations, I get a different access to structure and time and space and all these things. And then I go back to make music and these ideas help me. The big interesting freedom I get when I work with lasers is it's a very limited medium. There's only a few things you can do with them. And with electronic music, everything is possible. And I totally embrace the limitation because the limitation makes me really think about a few very basic questions of structure, of timing, of color. And so in a way, working with lasers gives me a mental space which helps me then going back to music and look at my music or listen to my music in a different way. The Monolake thing is actually getting more and more alive these days again. Despite all my laser stuff, I work on club music and have new releases coming up, and a new album is planned for next year, so it's not dead at all. The destructive observation field is the second laser work, and it came by as an accident. I was researching for my laser concert pieces and I needed to protect myself from getting hit by the laser by mistake. And I was looking around at my office space and I found a black piece of plexiglass and I was just mounting it on a microphone stand. And then I thought I should probably test if this really is thick enough to keep the laser beam away. And when I did it, I just noted that the laser beam is basically burning and melting this piece of plastic. And as a result, I got some crazy reflections on the other side of the room. And it just looked good. And then I thought maybe I should make a piece out of it. And the rest was just making sense out of this happy accident. So the way it works is very simple. I have the plexiglass, which is hit by the laser, which is somewhere on the ground. And the light hits the plexiglass plate. The plexiglass plate heats up and it gets curved and broken. and it creates a reflection, and the reflection is hitting a piece of kind of satined glass, and the audience is behind the glass. And this allows the audience to go really, really close without the danger of being hit by the laser beam directly. And so it's pretty much this setup, but it's called the destructive observation field because the observation happens because the laser beam is hitting the plate. And what we see is the reflection. That's the observation. But the laser beam also destroys the plate, and this is why it's beautiful in the first place. If it wouldn't destroy it, it would be just a mirror, and you would simply see just like a mirror of the laser beam, and this would be not very interesting. And the longer the installation runs, the more complex the figures get. But the most complex figure is just noise. And noise would be basically just white light. So if the installation runs forever, what you would see on the screen would be a very blurry mess of colors. And the process in between is interesting. There is a sonic layer to this installation, but it is actually not very important. The main reason why it's there is that I want to create a space where people come in and they are immediately in a different space. So it's a slow drone type of space which is driven by the same software which drives the laser. So there's a technical connection. But the fine-tuning always happened at the space, and to me this is part of what's the big fun. You go there and you do something which is made for this specific space, and it's always a bit different. So I'm actually looking very much forward to set it up. In a nice way, it feels good to play at a smaller festival in the town I live in, and not only somewhere else, because ultimately when I started making music, it was here in Berlin, and it was a thing which was amongst friends. And as much as I like performing at big raves or festivals somewhere around the globe, the ability that I do something here which is 10 minutes by bike from where I live is also beautiful. And Krake always maintains to get this nice balance between having a professional, whatever this means, lineup of international people, and at the same time feels local, and that's nice.